And operations at Saudi Arabia's Ras Tanura Refinery, one of the world's largest oil processing facilities, have been halted. It comes after footage showed smoke pouring from the Aramco-owned site, reportedly after a drone strike by Iran. Riyadh's military, though, has claimed UAVs targeting the oil refinery. They were successfully intercepted. Now, following this, Qatar Energy has also announced it stopped LNG production after an attack on two of its facilities. Oil markets, they are on the move as the situation across the Middle East escalates. Crude prices, they have surged after the strikes in Iran and massive disruption to a key supply chain route. In fact, the Strait of Hormuz, that has been closed. But let's understand this. It is a narrow sea passage bordered by Iran to the north and Oman and the UAE to the south. It connects major oil producers to global markets, and it is considered one of the world's most critical maritime choke points. To get an idea of just how narrow it can become, considering the scale of vessels passing through, it is as narrow as 33 kilometers at one point, with shipping lanes barely 3 kilometers across. So why is it so important? Well, it sees nearly 20% of the world's oil supplies pass through it, and even more when you consider just seaborne crude. It is also a key transit corridor for LNG exports from Qatar, making it vital for Asian energy security. In fact, the route is crucial for a multitude of nations in the region, and their exports head to Asia in one direction and Europe in the other. In fact, major buyers include India, China, Japan, as well as South Korea. For India specifically, the stakes are especially high, with around 50% of its crude imports, 60% of LNG, and nearly all its LPG supplies transiting through Hormuz. In an exclusive interview with RT's Rick Sanchez, Iran's deputy foreign minister has said the US and Israeli aggression is to blame for disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz.
The Islamic Republic of Iran has always respected its commitments regarding free navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. We have always tried to provide security actually when it comes to the navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. But you know, and also everybody knows, that nowadays we are in a war with two regimes, United States of America and also the Zionist regime. And actually, if there is any limitation, and also if there is any obstacle in the free navigation in the Strait of Hormuz these days, is due to the situation that we are facing. And the main cause and the main problem come through the United States and the Zionist regime and the war that we are facing. So this is the situation that we are facing, and the history of Iran shows that Iran has always tried to provide security in this region. But by the way, if anybody is going to be blamed, that's the Israeli regime and the United States.
But the International Atomic Energy Agency has denied earlier reports that has suggested that the Natanz nuclear facility was hit in a strike. The UN nuclear watchdog stated there is no indication of any damage and added that there is also no sign that Tehran was developing nuclear weapons. And earlier we spoke with a West Asia relations expert who warned that a collapse of Iran could put India at a crossroads and complicate regional security.
In the last few years, what we know, India has focused on India-Middle East economic corridor. And in this way, a new West Asia policy has been carved out by New Delhi with help of United Arab Emirates and Israel and the United States, what they call as I2U2. However, with the 7 October conflict and now this Iranian conflict has made this approach of IMEC-centric West Asia policy much more complicated. So it means that the IMEC policy as of now is not sustainable. For that kind of a policy to start, what India needs is some sort of stability and peace. And one more complication is that if Iran collapses, if Iranian regime, the Islamic regime collapses, then India would have a difficult choice. Either a pro-West, for example, a pro-Israeli government can come there led by Pahlavis, or kind of a critical to American establishment, led by the Mujahideen-e-Khalq. In both cases, India has to be prepared for different kind of scenarios. And India's overall security architecture in South Asia as well as in West Asia is going to be complicated. India should be ready for different kind of scenario.
Yeah.
As of now, we should hope that the regime is not going to collapse, and India might be pursuing a silent diplomacy for dialogue and to calm down the Israelis as well as Americans. And of course, India has some kind of leverage on Prime Minister Netanyahu to request him to minimize or to at least de-escalate for some time. Otherwise, India has a big stake in regional stability and regional conflict.
And we are now joined by Iran-based religious scholar and political analyst Akif Zaidi. Mr. Zaidi, you are based out of Qom, and this is where the Iranian Revolution of 1979 began. What is the mood in the city like now that the top leadership of that revolution stands eliminated?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The mood in Qom and elsewhere in Iran is a combination of grief, anger, and determination to change the security and, in fact, the entire political architecture of West Asia. That's what the Iranian system, and the system includes the people, the government as well as the people that together comprise the Iranian system, are determined to bring about that change. And which is why you are seeing these reports of Iran simultaneously striking American military assets in 8 to 9 countries, as well as several points in the ocean. There is a determination that this is going to be decisive. And after this, American military presence will cease to exist in West Asia. So there is a mood of determination, and there is a mood of anticipation, and there is a mood of fighting this out if required for a very long time, several years if required.
Mr. Zaidi, there is a transitional council that is now in place after the death of the supreme leader. How stable is Iran's leadership structure at this point?
Iran has, like other stable constitutional democracies, Iran has a constitutional structure, and the leadership council is also something which has been defined in the constitutional structure as the transitional leadership center till the next Wali-e-Faqih is announced at some point in the future. This is not the first time that the Iranian system has gone through this. Back in 1989, when Imam Khomeini passed away, the same system worked very well and has provided stability for 47 years of conflict with America and the West. We are now at a decisive phase in this conflict, but this conflict is not something which has begun 2 days ago. It has 47 years of history, and Iran is well used to fighting these battles in this larger overall war.
Mr. Zaidi, the Strait of Hormuz has been closed. Could Iran realistically close the strait permanently? And what would be the geopolitical fallout that we are looking at?
Iran has never made any secret about its plan to close the Straits of Hormuz if required. And of course, it is well within its abilities to do that indefinitely, because the Straits of Hormuz is as narrow as 32 kilometers, with Iran having full domination over that particular choke point of maritime traffic and oil supply. Obviously, this is all part of Iran's counterattack, which it intends to pursue in a systematic and graded fashion till it achieves the various goals that it has laid out for itself.
Mr. Zaidi, there have been a lot of conversations regarding Iran's nuclear ambitions. How has this particular conflict impacted that ambition and the possibility of a return to negotiations over its nuclear program?
I think that Iran has been very clear about its nuclear doctrine. It insists on having nuclear enrichment and nuclear technology, and it absolutely rejects any nuclear weaponry, whether for itself or for any other player in the world. That is a consistent position that it has held right from the establishment of the Islamic Republic in 1979. There has been no change up until now. Will there be any change in the future? Time will tell after this conflict, this particular decisive war is over. My own personal estimate and judgment is that Iran's position will not change even after this particular war is over. As far as negotiations are concerned, as you and your viewers are well aware, that Iran has always engaged, had always engaged in nuclear negotiations right from 2002 onwards. I beg your pardon, 2002 onward, right up until this recent attack. This recent attack, which began a couple of days ago, was an attack that happened between two rounds of meeting, just like the previous attack in June 2025, which too happened between two rounds of meeting. So the question has never been whether Iran is interested in negotiations. It's always been whether America can be forced to enter into negotiations and actually engage in negotiations and not in dictation under the guise of negotiations. I think we are going to be headed towards some pretty good negotiations after this war is over and America finally is forced to enter into genuine negotiations.
So Iran has very clearly said that it is not going to return to the negotiation table at this particular point. But what realistic pathways?
Iran cannot return to the negotiation table because Iran never left the negotiation table.
We understand
It was America that flipped the negotiation table over. And America will return when it is forced to after this decisive war is over.
So you're basically saying that there is a realistic pathway or a chance for diplomatic engagement between Iran and the US, not right now, but on Iran's terms.
Yes, I believe that there is a very high probability of that happening.
Okay. Mr. Aqib Zaidi, thank you very much for speaking with RT India.
You're welcome.